So just to start off with, as we have done before, just place your feet on the floor and just bring your intention and your attention to them. So feet hip width distance apart, and then close your eyes and just notice how your feet are feeling today against the floor, against the mat. If they feel like they need to be out a little bit wider, then that's fine, but try to keep them as hip width distance as much as you can. And then let's just start to move forward on the feet and keeping the heels connected into the back of the mat. And then let the heels, so then move your weight backwards, but keeping the toes connected. So you might find that you're going a little bit too far, so your toes come off. That means you've gone too far, so come back and right yourself. And then move the weight over the front of the feet, keeping the weight in the heels. And then slowly, gradually send your weight just slightly beyond your heels, keeping your toes connected. And come forward again. And then sliding back. Just exploring where your feet are right now. And then let's come to a neutral position. Just reconnecting with the whole of the feet. And then let's just shift our weight over to the right side so that outer of the right foot is a little bit more connected than the rest of the feet. And then slowly come over to the left side of the outer edge of the left foot. And again, swaying over, connecting in across the whole of the back base of the foot. And then back again over to the left again. So always keep the whole of the foot connected, but we're just wakening up the sides of the feet, wakening up the body, making it realize or remember the balance nature that we have. Okay, and then come into the middle. And now I want you to do a circle. So I want you to come forward and then to the left and then back, remembering those toes as you come back, and then come onto the right and forward. So circling, imagine that your shin bones are going down into your ankle bones, and then they're going deeper than the floor. So it's like you're pivoting on this this broom handle as such. It's goes through your ankles. And then come round one more time, and then we're going to go the other way. So then come to the left, and then front and side, and you'll find that the feet just start to soften a little bit as you're doing this, because they're starting to get used to the movement. And again, just explore these places. Okay, and then come to the middle. And now what I want you to do is I want you to shift your weight onto the left foot and then slowly peel the heel off onto the balls of the toes. Then I want you to lift your foot a little bit more, so your toe, the top of your toe, as if you're a ballet dancer, is lightly on the mat. And then I want you to peel the foot back down onto the mat. Shift your weight onto the right side. Start to peel your left foot up. Imagine that the foot is the vertebra that you're pulling up onto your balls of your feet, and then coming up onto the top of the toe. Weight is a little bit more concentrated on the right hand side, but you're still quite equal. And then come back down. And then coming, peeling the right foot off onto the toes, coming right onto the top of the toes as if you're a ballet dancer. The left foot is still flat on the floor. Now what I want you to do is I want you to just float that thigh bone up. So your leg is now bent, your knee is bent. And I just want you to just move your leg around a little bit. Flop your foot around. And then come back down, toe, toes, heel. And then to the other one, shift your weight onto the right, peel your foot up onto the top of the toe, and then float the thigh bone. So the thigh bone goes deeper into the pelvis here, but also it's just very weightless. And then just shake the shin and the foot, and then come back down to the top of the toe, balls of the toe, and then heel. And then again on the right side, peeling the toe up, float the knee up. And again, if you want to, you can touch your thigh bone if you just want to give it a little bit more support. This is really good if you've got knee problems, because you're actually giving your shins and your feet the chance to actually soften out of your knees, which they don't often have to do. This is also quite easy to do when you're sitting. And then toes down, to balls of feet down to the heels, and then slowly pull the left leg up, toes onto the top of the toes, float the thigh bone in. Again, you can either balance or you can hold your thigh bone, just touch it, give it a bit of response, just let that knee just flop, that shin flop as you come down. Okay. Now we're going to do some arms. So I'm going to do some arms and rotation. So feet hip width distance apart. Can have your legs can be bent, it can be however is comfortable for you. So I want you to take both of the arms up wide to the ceiling and turn the rib cage around. So your eye gaze is on the right side, the wall on the right. Then I want you to turn your hands so they go through the front and then to the side. So you've now got your arms still straight up, and then bring the arms down to a low V, and you're facing the left wall now, and then come to the front with a low V. And then bring your arms up, turn your hands to the right, or turn your ribcage to the right, high V. Bring your arms down, low V, rotate the arms around, so your left side V, and then up to the ceiling, coming across, and then down. And then coming over, rotate. Remember to rotate your spine for your rib cage here, and your arms in a low V, bring them up, come to the front, and then down. So we're going to do this a little bit faster now. So what it's going to look like is this. Okay? So we just start off again quite slowly. So bring your arms up, turn to the right, bring your arms down, turn to the left, bring your arms up. Turn to the right, bring your arms down, turn to the left, arms are low, bring your arms up, turn to the right, arms low. Your feet are still connected at every time. So I really want you to ground into the feet right now, really connect in where you've opened them up in the previous way. This is really great if you have been at your computer all day. It's really fantastic if you've just been stuck in a position, because you're opening up the arms, the shoulders. Also, we're opening up the thoracic spine. Okay, maybe we can go a little bit faster. If you get lost, if you feel like you're going the wrong way, just stop and start again. Okay, we're still going this same way. And then stop with your arms up straight. Come to me with your arms up, facing the camera. Then let's turn to the left. Come down, round to the right, arms up. Come to the left, arms down. Come to the right, arms up. turn left, come down to the right, arms up. So again, this way we're going to the left first. And let's see how our arms are after this lovely opening and spiraling of both the spine and the arms. I know mine are aching right now. And then let's just do that 3 more times. Really keeping your feet connected, your toes connected, your heels connected. And then just shake, shake, shake that. Okay, I'm going to bring you down now. So we're going to come down to a seated position. So either seated, cross-legged, sit on a cushion if you need to, or kneeling. It's entirely your decision. Okay, whichever's easy for you. Right. Okay, so bring your arms up behind your head, clasp your hands behind your head, and connect your head into your hands and your hands into your head. I'd like your elbows to come inward so you can see them out of your eyes in your peripheral vision. Okay, this is going to be a really lovely one for opening the back of the neck and also doing a bit more rotation just to unwind ourselves from today's desk action. Okay, so I want you to imagine you've got dials on the side of your shoulders and you're turning those dials forward. The elbows start to paint a nice sort of semicircle as you bring your chin down towards your chest, opening up the back of your spine here, up your shoulder girdle. And then I want you to start to turn the dials on your shoulders away from you. Allow the elbows to start painting up the wall in front. And then just open your breastbone out towards the ceiling and try to maintain a connection between the back of the neck. Rather than just going back like that, I just want to really nicely, it's a connected curve. And then coming back down, opening up the back of the neck as you bring your chin down. Always keep the connection of the back of the head and the hands and the head. So you're creating this energetic tension that supports the musculature of the cervical spine, which is the neck, and open out towards the chest, towards the ceiling. And then eye gaze follows the elbows as you come down. And then just sending the elbows up towards the ceiling again. Now we're going to connect here at the ceiling, and what I want you to do is I want you to turn your rib cage around so you're going towards the right side. Then I want you to turn the elbows down towards the right knee. So you're coming into a bit of a diagonal flexion here on the spine. Then I want you to turn the rib cage around to the left knee and then bring it up the other corner of the room. Okay, just be mindful of how far you can go here, yeah? I don't know how far you can go, but if you're feeling any tightness, just be very conscious of that and back away from it. Because these are quite, just keep on going around on the diagonal here. These are quite sort of small angles that we're working with here. It's quite restricted because we've got our arms behind our heads. And then coming up on the left, opening out. And now at the left, I want you to come down, so reverse that. And then coming across the right to the right knee, and then reversing up the right wall, across the ceiling. Also keep a connection within your pelvis here as you're doing it. Really imagine that your pelvis is soft and grounded into the mat here. And one more time. Up the right way, then across the ceiling, and then down the left way. And then come to the middle. Okay, let's just switch up, move our elbow, shoulders a little bit. Now what I'd like to do actually is I'd like to have a lie down. We're going to do a little bit of sort of opening up of the vagus nerve that we started off already. So have a lie down with the back of on your back. You can either have your legs bent and your feet on the floor or legs out. It's entirely your decision. What I'd like you to do is keeping your head on the floor. I just want you to just start to move your chin down towards your chest and then open up your throat towards the ceiling. So you're always keeping a connection of the back of the head here, and it's a really, really, really small movement. What we're doing here is we're opening up the vagus nerve, which runs from the cranium all the way into the body. It actually connects up with all of the organs, your arms, your legs, the whole of the body in its various tributaries. So it's really important. Keep on just sliding back and forth with your on the back of the head. It's very, very. It's a tributary, and it's often it's not really easy to get to either. Okay, and then one more time, sliding your chin up away, so your throat starts to open, and then sliding the chin down to the chest, so the throat closes, and then come to a neutral place. Now what I'd like you to do is, I'd just like you to put a little bit of pressure onto your skull. So just press your head back into the mat just a little bit, keeping your eye gaze and your head neutral. Just put a little bit of, as if someone was placing something heavy on your skull, and then soften. And then press your skull back in so it's making more contact with the mat. And then soften. And then again. And soften. And now what I want you to do is I want you to close your eyes, and I want you to turn your eyes, keeping your face towards the ceiling. I want you to turn your eye gaze to your left, and then I want you to turn the eye gaze to the right. If at any point this is problematic for you, please pause and stop and breathe. Okay, and then turn the eyes to the left, and then turn the eyes to the right. And again, roll the eyes to the left. So literally you've got eyes closed, eyeballs are rolling underneath the eyes, as if you're looking to the left and the right. Now I want you to look up and look down, but keeping that with the eyeballs. And look up with the eyeballs and look down with the eyeballs. Also have a think, just sense how your jaw tension is whilst you're doing this. Is it quite tense? Just try and imagine that your jawbone is going back into the earth here. And now come to a neutral place. And then I just want you to do circles with the eyeballs. Circle around, do it quite slowly. And then do the other way. Our eye muscles often don't get very worked out, so this is actually a really lovely way to just liven them up a little bit. And then now I want you to open your eyes, and I want you to use your eye gaze to just turn the head to the right, noticing if there's any connection or tension in the neck. And then I want you to use your eye gaze over the ceiling, and then turning over to the left. Again, noticing if there's any tension, just breathing into it. Don't go too far either. This is really gentle stuff. It's really gentle, but also really powerful. Turn over to the right again, eye gaze, and then using the eye gaze, just turn your head, lead your head to turn to the left. Okay, now come to neutral. Place your hands behind your head again, and then bring your right arm over, and then you'll notice that your knees want to start to come over, so you come into the really lovely fetal position, and then bringing your top elbow up, open out the top of the spine, breathing here, allowing the shoulder just to drop if you feel that there's some tension in the upper shoulder, and then slowly bring the upper arm back. And then bring the upper elbow, painting another rainbow with that elbow, opening out, softening that top shoulder a little bit, turning your eye gaze to the opposite way to your knees if you feel that you're able to. And then slowly allowing the elbow to come over. And then one more time on this side, opening out, leading with the elbow, allowing the thoracic spine to just unfurl and rotate, eye gaze over to the left. Now what I want you to do is I want you to bring your feet, your knees up. Your knees can do what the elbows are doing, follow where the elbows are. Eye gaze comes to the ceiling now, transfers over to the left side. And then the left elbow brings your head back over to the right. And then let's repeat that on the left side. So slowly opening up the thoracic spine with the left elbow. Eye gaze either on the ceiling or towards the left. Knees are towards the right. And then bring the elbow back. Rolling into that fetal position. And then coming back open. Always just allowing your head to feel completely supported as you're opening up here. You want a little bit more of a stretch, lengthen the thigh bone, the top thigh bone away from the pubic bone. And then bring it back. And remembering to breathe as well, wherever you feel it is relevant for you. Opening up the elbow and the eye gaze comes around, softening that shoulder if you need to, lengthening that thigh bone out of the pelvis. And here I want you to bring the knees over into the middle, slide them over to the left side, that gaze goes over to the right, right elbow comes over and you're back where you started. Okay, now come up to sitting. We're going to waken ourselves up a little bit after all that. Okay, so legs long, arms out wide. So we're just going to do some rocking here. Just going to liven up our sit bones after, you know, if like me, we've been sat down for a lot of the day. Just rolling on that base of that pelvis, really enjoying it, creating some momentum as you're pressing away with the palm of the hand or the heel of the hand, because what we're going to do in a moment is we're going to swing round to the side like this, and then we're going to come back. That's it. And we're going to rock again. If you don't have that much space, you can just do it with the legs bent, so you can roll like that. I just want you to just have a little bit of fun and come round on this side. Just notice whether one side is easier or one side is more tricky. I know that I find that one side I always want to favour going with my legs going to my right. This way is a little bit harder for me for whatever reason. I don't know. That's it. A couple more times on each side, and then we're going to finish on the right side. So right hand down. Okay. So either legs bent or legs long. You can either have your hand here or you can come down onto your arm. Onto your arms might be quite comfortable, but it depends on whether you've got a gap here in your armpit if you have, or you can do this. Hi, Nick. Okay, either bend the lower leg and lengthen the top leg, or you can lengthen both the legs. Okay, and then we're just going to start to lengthen the top leg up and down. So when you bring it down, create a connection. So make sure there's a space in between each of the legs. So we're not coming all the way down. There's always going to be a buoyancy in that opening and closing. And really imagine that you're connecting from the ribs to the hip to the knee to the ankle, and from the inner seam all the way down to the ankle here. Okay, and then come to the middle, and then we want to lengthen our heels in front. So really lengthening from the bottom all the way to the heel, pointing the toe as you come back, opening out the hip flexor. Be mindful of where you are right now, because if you start to overextend, you can push the pelvis out. It's not actually that too much of an extension. So come forward, point the toe, lengthen away. This is what we would do when we're walking. Forward with the heel, press the foot, lengthen away. Really opening up, just uncreasing our hips from the sitting. And then one more. And open. And now bend your knee in, and then bring the knee in and away. So flex the foot here. And really imagine that you're sending your heel through the wall in the direction that you're sending in. So really, 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 really lots and lots of muscle energy going on, really connecting in with your bottom. Okay, lovely. Whew. I'm not a fan of that. Lengthen this top leg away and then bring the bottom leg up. A bit like we were before when we were doing the rocking. And one more time, really zipping up those inner thighs. Keep your top leg still and bring the bottom leg up. And then, yeah, lengthen forwards and back. And if you want to cycle, you can. Bending your legs, pretending you're cycling if you're not able to, or if you don't have the space. Okay, calming here. Just tap yourself on the hip and come up onto your elbow and lengthen one leg away. So I want you to lengthen the top leg away, and as you lengthen the top leg away, we're going to bring the arm up and over, and we're going to press to make sure you've got your shoulder on top of your elbow. Press into the forearm and just open out this left side. And then as you bring the arm over, you're going to, the leg and the pelvis is going to come in, and then you're going to rotate just slightly over because you'll bring your arm over to the back wall. Lengthen back over. Creating that nice side stretch. And then just slight rotation of the rib cage as you bring your arm over to the back. Okay. Now what I want you to do is I want you to lengthen your arm up and press up. So you're on the shin and you've got this leg long. Okay. And then I want you to open out this lateral side here. So really create connection between the hip and the arms. And then come back down. Readjust yourself if you need to. Bend the bottom leg. And then roll onto the front of the shin. So this is all, it's not about powering up from a side plank, it's about opening, exactly, it's about opening up the sides of the rib cage, which rarely get the opportunity to do that. And then one more time, up and open, and coming down. come to the front. And rocking again. Again, really, really opening up the base of the pelvis. Trying to remember which side we like. Trying not to forget the side we don't like. Maybe come onto your hands if you were on your elbows before. Maybe do it one more like this. Depends if you fancy, whichever you fancy. Just and let's come and no, it's the other way. Come onto your left. Okay, adjust yourself if you need to. And then let's come down. So either on the arm, if that's comfortable, and if it might not be comfortable in your armpit, or hand to the head to support. Place your right hand in front of you. Lengthen the legs out. Really connecting with the outer and the inner seams. And then just allow the top leg to float up, which it will do as you lengthen away. And then lengthen the leg up to the ceiling. Just feel like you've got elastic bands. So if we had resistance bands, we obviously wouldn't be able to do this much, but imagine that you have, we do have, our fascial system is basically our inbuilt elastic bands. But it's about the connection that you place through your legs or your arms or whatever part of the body that you're working on that actually just shows us enables that tension to happen. Okay, and then come to standing stop, flex the foot, and then send the leg forward. As you can see, I've got really, really clean feet today. Lengthen back, so really open up that back of the front of that hip there, and then lengthen the foot in front, really sending that heel to the front. Bringing the foot, sweeping the foot behind, and then lengthening the foot in front. Always keeping that lower leg active. You might want to bend the bottom leg if you need a little bit more stability. It absolutely is fine to do either way. It's actually better if you're wobbling around a lot with your leg straight. It's much better to bend your leg. Okay. And then let us bend the leg in and then press away with that right heel. Bend the right knee in, press. So imagine that you're pressing through this wall at the side of you. Bend the knee in, pressing away, creating that tension in the leg muscles, in the bum muscles. Lengthen away, really, 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 really pressing away. Lengthen, keeping that leg, the lower leg connected, whether it's bent or straight. Just really have an attention to that as well. And then soften down. Whew. Shake the leg out if you need to. Lengthen the top leg up and then bring the bottom leg to it. So really think about connecting that top leg, so as if it's sending it to the wall in front of it, and then just bringing up that bottom leg, zipping it up. And then let's switch to scissor. So sending one leg forward, one leg back, keeping an eye on the pelvis if we need to, or if we want to, bending the knees, doing a bicycle kind of move. Brilliant. And then soften down. Coming onto forearm and remembering to connect out, to place our elbow underneath our shoulders. It's really important we do this, because if it's out, then we get the base of support that we have is a lot weaker. Okay, so Let's bring our arms up and open, opening up the right side as you allow the pelvis to slide away from the rib cage. Bringing the arm, sweeping the arm over the ceiling and bringing it to the back wall, slightly rotating your rib cage open. Sweeping the hand over, so the hand feels like it's going into a bit of a diagonal as it's in its movement. So it's a diagonal hemisphere as it's sweeping open, allowing the shoulders to really widen here. If there are, again, remember, breathe as you want to. Really just enjoy this opening and closing of this motion. And then one more. You can lengthen the front top leg as well. Okay, now let's come up into the deeper lateral flexion. So pressing into the arms, they roll onto the side of the, as if it's on the front of the shin, and come up and open. Lengthen this top leg away. And then coming back down. Lengthen the top leg away, opening up the side, the right side. And then coming down. And then lengthening away, rolling onto the front of the shin, opening up the right side. And coming down. Lovely. Okay, now we'll turn onto our fronts. But what I'm going to show you first, actually, is I talk about spirals in the arms and how they, and the reason why I do is because they open up the chest and can close, they work with the spine movement. So we're going to do some extension work in a moment lying down. And I'm going to ask you to do something, to visualize something, which will help facilitate extension, which is when we come up like this. So if you see, watch my hands. So our hands are going to be facing, when we lie on the floor facing the ceiling. And what I want you to do is I want you to turn your hands as though they're turning a doorknob. Okay, turn them inwards, spiral, and that means that they turn inwards. The forearms turn inwards and the upper arms spiral outwards. So, or they spiral inwards. So everything spirals inwards. And then we're softening back. And then, so when we're lying down, they're spiraling inwards, but actually they're spiraling outwards if we're standing up, hence why I was getting myself mixed up. So it's, so you could just, you're turning your hands that way, but it's a spiraling motion. That spiraling motion allows the chest bone to open, the collarbones to start to roll back, and your rib cage will start to open from the pubic bone upwards. Okay. So let's try that lying down. It's not going to be the first thing we do though. So come down onto the front. Place your hands up in a V. Your head is just your nose is a couple of centimetres away from, a centimetre away from the mat. So basically it means it's just popped on the top of your spine, and it's just there's a little gap between the nose. You're not resting your head. Bring your hands up into a V shape, and actually just rest your forehead on your hands. So we're going to lengthen out the legs here. So just start to lengthen your right leg out of your pelvis as if someone's pulling your leg away from you, and then rest it down. And let's do the same on the left. So lengthen the left leg away, 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 away. So this is a tension creating connection, an energetic tension creating exercise. And then let's do that again on the right. Lengthen away, lengthen, 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 lengthen. Someone's holding onto your ankle. And then one more time with the left. Someone's pulling your ankle of your left leg. Oh, that feels really good. And then soften down. Okay, now keeping your head around the same height as it is now with you resting, just take your hands away and open your arms up so they're in a V. eye gaze is to the mat. Slightly bend your elbows. So I want to say you're in a U shape because you're not in a V shape, but it's like it's a V with a U with angles. And feel the connection of the palms and the forearms and the elbows. Okay, so we were talking about spiraling before. This is the same spiral, but it's a different exercise. So I want you to imagine that you're spiraling your upper arm bones away from the floor, and your forearms and your hands rise. Okay, and then soften them back down again. Start to spiral your arm bones away from you, and your forearms open, and your hands come back down. And again, spiral the arm bones away from you, forearms and hands lift, and then again, and then one more time. Spiraling the arm bones away, forearms and hands lift. Then lift the elbows, keeping the upper arm bones in that same spiraling movement. Bring the elbows down, and then the forearms. Spiral the upper arms away, elbows are on the floor. Lift the elbows up. You'll notice that your chest starts to rise a little here. Okay, that is the movement of the extension. Place the elbows down, forearms and hands. Take a breather here. Maybe move your shoulders if you need to. And this time we're going to, when we get up to lifting all the arms up, we're going to lengthen the arms out. So again, lengthen the feet away to the wall behind you. Spiral the upper arms, so your forearms and your hands rise. Lift your elbows. Now lengthen your arms out so your hands are in a V. And then bend the elbows, arms spiral down, elbows connect with the floor, forearms come down, hands come down. One more time. Spiral the arms away, lift the forearms up. Hands and forearms are away from the floor. Lift the elbows up, lengthen the arms out into a V. Now I want you to bring your arms down towards your pelvis, and your arms will spiral so your hands are facing the ceiling. Okay? So your palms are facing the ceiling here. Lengthen your legs away. And then I want you to start to move your hands towards the V, so the upright V again to the wall in front. Palms come down to the floor, arms in a V. And then one more time. Spiral your arms so your palms face the ceiling. Bring them to your to the sides by your pelvis. Soften your head down so you're on one side. Turn the head so your left cheek or your right cheek is on. Take a breather here. Okay, now we're going to come to the door handling. So, our palms are facing the ceiling. Lengthen the legs away from the body. Start to turn your head so your nose is a centimetre or so off the mat. Lengthen your arms down towards your feet. Now get those imaginary door handles and start to turn your hands inwards. You'll find that the forearms and the upper arms start to turn inwards, and your shoulders will start to rise. Breathe in here. And then breathing out as you unturn your hands so the palms face the ceiling. And again, turning those handles, breathing in, forearms turn, upper arms turn, shoulders grow wider, collarbones grow wider, lengthen your feet out to the wall in front. And then coming back down. This time we're going to stay up here. So turning those handles, breathing in, lengthen your legs away. You'll find that your legs will rise naturally, and then breathing in, you'll find that your rib cage rises a little bit, and then breathing out, your feet will rise. Lengthen your hands down. That's it. And breathing in. Keep that connection with the head and the toes all going away from each other, and the fingers going towards the feet, and then unturn your hands. Place your hands underneath the shoulders. Give your hips a bit of a wiggle here, yeah? Okay, now press into the heels of the hands and send the elbows towards the ankles as you breathe in and allow your chest to rise, and then soften down. Lengthen the legs away again, pressing into the hands, pressing into the heel of the hands, turning the elbows, sliding the heels of the hands towards the wall in front as you maybe come up a little bit further, breathing in. If you're starting to kick into your lower back, then don't go any further. Okay, and then breathing in, start to turn the shoulders, the elbows go down towards the feet, lengthen up from the pubic bone, press into the hands. You might want to rise, pelvis comes up, and then bend, come back into child's pose. Have your knees wide or close together, whichever is good for you. Bring your arms towards your feet. So you've got your head on the mat, bum down by your heels, wherever it sits. It could be in a space, it might not, but just put your arms towards your feet, because that actually softens all the work that we've been doing in the arms. Make any movements that you need. And then we're going to come up onto all fours. Okay. So let's have, this is going to be a little bit of a wrist mobility bit of work. So if you get issues with your wrists at all, if you've got carpal tunnel, anything like that, this could be really helpful to do. Also, if you want to do handstands, this is great practice. So what I want you to do is come onto your knees and your hands and place your weight into your hands here, into your heel of your hands. Then I want you to shift your weight forward so they come over your hands, and you're opening up the backs of the wrists. So again, be your own judge. Be really mindful of where you're at with this. Some of this can be quite twingy and painful because it's, again, we're opening up muscles and fascia that is not, it's not accessed a huge amount. Okay. And let's lean forward, gently, 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 opening up the backs of the wrists, and then coming back. And again, sending your weight over gently, and coming back. And then again, gently over, and coming back. Now I want you to place your hands sideways, so as if you're a frog or one of those animals that walks with their paws like this, and then just sway from side to side. So sway to the left and you'll find an opening here. Just a little, just be really, really gentle, really, really gentle. All the while connecting in with the hands into the ground. And then if you need to, twist around a little bit, and then place your fingers towards your knees. And again, lean back ever so slightly. We haven't got to the real juicy one yet. No, the other way. Yeah, no, that's right. Yeah, you're right. And then so your elbows are towards the front. And then maybe if you can, bend your elbows a little bit. Only ever slightly. Bend your elbows a little bit. Maybe just bend your elbows a little bit. And then one more time. Now this is the lovely one. Backs of the hands. And just place a little bit of pressure. Only be really, really, really kind to yourself here. I can say I've done this not very often over the last couple of weeks, and when I first did it, it was mind-bogglingly painful, but actually it's become a lot easier just after doing it a few times. So it's definitely something to do if you do get wrist and hand issues. Okay, now just clasp your hands together, your thumbs here, and then just start to turn your wrists around, and then the other way if you are able to do the other way. And just move them up and down and have them shake. Another thing to do whilst we're here is to place your hands again, so as if they were you're in all fours, and place your intention into the palm of the hand. Now what I want you to do is I want you to just pull your fingers of your hands together as if you've got some tension there. So as if you got, I don't know, like you've got suckers underneath. Bring the fingers, the pads of the fingers towards the palm of the hand. It's really slight movement. And you'll find it's a bit like, it's in between the index finger and the thumb. It'll just be a slight movement and tension. And now what I want you to do is I want you to lift your index fingers up. So lift your second fingers up when you've got that connection, that tension. And then again, pulling the fingers towards each other, towards the palm of the hand, I should say. And then lift the index finger up again. And again. Okay. Right, now let's just do some cat-cow. If this has got your wrists, just come into either a fist. That's probably the easiest right now. So Alex, you might want to do fists for this. Okay, so let's just we always go from the pelvis when we do our cat-cow. So let's just actually go with the head. So let's just move the head up. Allow the arms to spiral outwards as the chest comes up the wall, and then the pelvis starts to move away from the back of the legs. And then let's move the head downwards, shoulders, the arms spiral inwards. Spine comes up through the shoulder blades, pelvis drops down the back of the legs. And then let's go from the pelvis away from the knees, and the spine comes up through the shoulder blades, chest comes up towards the wall in front, and then let's slide the pelvis down. The backs of the knees come up into flexion. And let's do that one more time, sliding away. Either the head or the pelvis, whichever you fancy today, and then let it come back down. Okay, so now what I want you to do is we just want to go into a little bit of a tricep dip. So bending the elbows, bring your nose down to the mat, and then press into the heels of the hands so you come back up. May want to move your knees a little bit further away, depending on how much you want to connect in, or how strong your triceps are. And then come down with the nose, press into the heel of the hands, lengthen the elbows. bring. So do it slowly. If you find this really easy, do it as slowly as you can. And really imagine that you've got a broom from your pelvis up to your, coming out of your head. So really, 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 really minute amounts, feeling all of the movement of those muscles in the spine, in the back, in the shoulders, in the arms. And then one more time. Now come onto your elbows. You can either have your hands flat, open, parallel, or you can have them on top of each other, or you can have them clasped. Again, let's come over the hands. See how far the nose comes to the mat. Knees are still bent. Top of the feet are connected in the mat, and then come all the way back into a half child's pose. Pressing the hands into the forearms into the mat as you bring your nose, skim your nose over the hands, and then rocking back, pelvis wide, sending back to the feet, nose to mat. Really opening up the armpits here, opening up the shoulder girdle, slowly coming over. Again, this is really great if we've been sat down and been hunched over computers or phones or sewing machines or just bikes or anything that we've been doing, because this really gets the shoulder girdle working. Sliding over your hands again, and then come to neutral. Now what I want you to do is I want you to send one foot out and the other foot out. And then I want you to come up through the shoulders and just bring your feet in a little bit. So your feet are hip width distance apart. And you're connecting in with the elbows and the forearms. And then I want you to sink towards the hands, breathing as you come up. Breathing out as you come towards your hands, and breathing in as you come back up. Breathing out as you come towards your hands, breathing in as you come up. And then bring your knees down and soften. Okay, so now I want you to slightly tuck your toes under, slightly crawl back, and then come onto your toes. And then I want you to balance here, giving your knees and your legs a bit of a hug. Bring your gaze down to the mat and see how tightly you can hold yourself here. Okay. And then place your hands on the floor, crawl out into a plank, and then come back, bend the knees, come back into that ball. And then can you slide your heels onto the floor? I can't. I just thought I'd ask if anyone can. Because if they can, please do. Roll back onto the balls of the feet, coming out just one more time. And then bend the knees, pressing away, coming back in, holding the balls of the feet, around your shins. Give yourself a good hug. Place your hands onto the mat. Just start to open up the pelvis towards the ceiling. Lengthen out the legs. If you are able to, open out the knees completely. Bring your legs hip width distance apart. If you aren't able to, then just bend your knees. Okay. Now just feel where your feet are. Yes, your hands are on the floor, but just have a rock around on your feet. Just connect back in after all this work. And then come to a place where you feel balanced. And then just let your arms, your hands come off the mat. And just let your arms just rotate and roll out of the sockets. Just let them do as you were doing with your shins out of your knee and your feet earlier, right at the beginning of the session. Just let them just feel like they're weightless. And then start to turn the pelvis down the back of the legs. Start to curl up the spine. Bring the hips on top of the thigh bones, on top of the rib cage, shoulders on top of the rib cage, head on top of the spine, arms long. Nod the head down, nose to chest, turning the rib cage, turning the pelvis, opening up the spine, opening up the back of the pelvis towards the ceiling, lengthening the legs. And heavy, heavy, heavy arms here, heavy skull here. Just let the skull, again, just like the arms, just feel really heavy and lengthened out of where it is. Let gravity just take it and just help you just soften. Bend your back of the knees if you need to. And then just have a rock on your legs, have a rock on your feet. Obviously don't go so far that you feel completely unbalanced, but just reconnecting with that spiraling balance that we have as human beings. We should never be stock still, because that creates tension. And the strength of our bodies is in the flexibility and the strength. Excuse me, it's my alarm. And then slowly but surely roll the pelvis back down the back of the legs, coming up. Hip bones slot into the thigh bones, rib cage bounces onto hips, arms just hang out of the shoulder blades, head just pops on top of the neck. And there you go. Thank you very much.